Hey, it's LeJune, Mind, Health, and Wellness with LeJune. Have some amazing women. We know 2026 is quickly approaching us. So we just want to talk about how we're feeling about the year, some buzzwords such as emotion, being strong, different things like that, just having a round table talk. And preparing ourselves with moving forward into the new year, as well as tomorrow, next week, how that looks. So, we'd like to introduce Coach Tamika Lloyd. Can you tell the people who you are?
Oh, hello, June. Nice to be back with you and your wonderful guest. I am an author, a speaker. I am the co owner of the Lloyd Health Revolution. And our goal is to get, for me, women healthy, not only physically, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And the other co founder, which is my husband, he does the same for the men. So we like to meet with people who want to reclaim whatever aspect of their life that they're having trouble with. So glad to be here.
All right, we have Nick LaProsperous, the brainstorming bestie. Can you tell the people who you are?
Yes, hello everyone, and thank you once again, June, to having me on your wonderful platform. I am Nicola Prosperous, the Brainstorming Bestie. I am who high achieving professionals, leaders, entrepreneurs, creatives come to bridge the gap between their logical mind and what their soul is actually here to do. So I'm excited to have these conversations and just, our brilliant minds come together on different topics.
And she forgot to say she's a speaker too. Coming soon.
I
All
mean,
right.
whatever, your ears to what?
All right, we have Natasha Hall. She is her
Hi,
plum.
everybody. Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me, LaJune. So I am the founder and CEO of HerPlum. HerPlum is a feminine hygiene and wellness company that's combining menstrual health and mental health. So we actually offer non-toxic reusable pads that's combined with monthly breathing and meditation to help women connect with their cycles, connect with their emotions, connect with their bodies so they can have better conversations with their healthcare providers, to be able to make sure that they can have a better life experience, and they can become healthier along the way.
All right, ladies, that's hey, some some powerful women here. All right, so let's talk about the word strong. For me, like I said before we started, I don't like that word. Before that was my thing. I wanted to be known as strong. I wasn't weak. I didn't want anybody seeing me as weak because it felt like people would treat me differently if I was weak or I was vulnerable. And with that, I lost my vulnerability. And I'm an actress. So when I have scenes where it calls for me to cry, I can't connect with that. I can't cry because I have for years turned that off. So for you guys, how does being called strong, and I've definitely been called strong the last 2 years, and it's not a badge of honor for me. And when I hear it, it pisses me off because we as women of color, we're known as strong. We can handle anything. We take on anything. But that's we it weighs on us and we detach ourselves from our emotions. So for you guys, how has that been for you? Let's start with Tamika.
Oh, that word strong. I am with you. I was not a fan of the word strong. Growing up in the projects, losing both my parents at a young age, being homeless, and that's all I heard. Oh, you were so strong. Oh, you were so strong. Oh, you. So I definitely understand what you mean. It's not a badge of honor. because you may see me as being strong on the outside, but on the inside, I'm screaming for help, but you would never know. And so being strong actually caused a whole lot of friction in my life because it was coming out in destructive ways. So now at this stage, I have a young grandson. He's 3 years old. And so it's teaching him kind of a new definition of strong. Yes, strong can mean physically, but strong can also mean you're vulnerable, because if you're vulnerable and if you feel a certain kind of way, it's okay. It's okay if you cry. You're not weak if you cry. You're still strong. So for me, like that's how I had to turn it around so that he doesn't grow up, thinking that, men don't show emotions because that's not strong. And so that's what it was for me, kind of working with him and the women that I coach, giving them a new definition of what strong is. So that's what it means to me now.
All right, Nick.
Oh my God, I hate it. Absolutely hate the word. No, from my point of view, I feel like being strong should be a tool that we all have access to. And so much people are wearing it as an identity, right? And when strong becomes your identity, it's not only that people don't know to help you, but then you feel ashamed. You feel weak for wanting help, right? Because it's become this whole persona. It takes on a life of its own. And I think that is where it becomes unhealthy, right? And I try to look at being strong as a tool, because if you have access to a tool, I could just go to my toolbox, do what I got to do, pump it up, like, what's up? It gets me through whatever I needed to get me through at that moment. And I could put it back in the toolbox, right? And that's how I had to redefine what strong is. It is a tool, a powerful tool that I have access to, but it's not my identity, right? And I feel like when we replace being strong with powerful, in our power, we can be vulnerable. In our power, we can be, free. In our power, it allows us to have a whole spectrum on the human experience, right? And have access to that. So I don't like the word strong as an identity, but I do love it as having access to it as a powerful tool.
I like that you said that, because using it as a tool instead of just having that, okay, this is my identity, this is who I am. So that definitely, it gives a new definition and perspective on it. So definitely love that. Natasha.
Yeah, I actually love what Nick said, relating to it being in your toolbox. This is something that you can utilize. I kind of see it similar to like the word ego, right? Like you can't be egotistical all the time. Then, whoa, hold on, let's take a second. Similar, like you being strong, you being able to say, hey, how can I use it? And at what points can I use it, right? So I just remember, and as everyone else was talking, something came up, which was when I was younger, I didn't know how to kind of manage my emotions, and should I be strong now or later, and how am I kind of doing in school, and how am I handling relationships? How do I kind of present myself as someone who kind of knows what I'm doing or trying to figure it out, but not always having to be like in control and strong, and being in this place where nothing can go wrong and I can never shed a tear. And I'm just thinking of my friend who came to me and said, hey, I'm kind of noticing that you're looking a bit like you need some help. And the first response that I said was, that's not going to help me. Yoga's not going to help me, right? Because I'm so strong. What is that going to do? Right. And so it kind of gives you this persona that you have everything in control. You don't need any help. And I think we need to kind of get away from that and actually say to ourselves, hey, actually being strong is being vulnerable, and vulnerability is not weak. Right. Being able to cry shows that you are empathetic. you have emotion, you can relate to another person. So being strong for me is like not the go-to. It's what Nick shared. It's something that I utilize in the moments that I need to use it, and then the times where I'm needing help, asking for it. That's actually a strong person to say, hey, hold on a second, I actually need help, let me reach out to my community and get the help that I need. So strong for me is something like that I utilize, not something that I want to be.
You said a lot. Like you touched on so many points because Tamika and I were talking in our interview. And for me, it's that control and letting go of that control. And control is hard when you've been going around managing everything yourself and being able to ask for help. It's scary because you're like it makes you feel weak. I have to ask for help. Oh, I need help with this. What will they think? What's the thought process for them? And you take yourself out of it. So what control have you guys been able to kind of release your control? Because being a entrepreneur, being a woman of color, trying to manage day-to-day life, what does that look like for you guys? So we'll start with Nick.
For me, like, are we talking about in the aspect of like letting go of that strong woman personality persona?
So we're talking about that and also that control aspect of trying to control everything and allowing people in to help when you need help or being open to asking for help.
Oh, for me, that's been a game changer. As someone that is diagnosed with lupus, for a long time, I was contributing to my own death. Just based on the fact that I felt like I had to do it on my own because that's a badge of honor. And, if people know that I'm dealing with this, then they're going to think I'm weak and they're going to think I'm this and they're going to think that. And a lot of times the thinking was coming from me, right? A lot of time we are our worst enemy. We are the ones that feel the shame. We feel the all these emotions that nobody ties to us, right? So like being able to release control of like what someone may think of me being diagnosed with lupus, I regained control by being like, well, let me tell my story in a way that not only am I comfortable with, but in a way that's real, that's humanized, right? So I think a lot of times losing, being able to let go of control is me being able to humanize myself, right? And not being other than I am, and not being, you know, what somebody else expect of me. And I feel like that happens by going on a journey of self-exploration, right? Like, how do I know myself if I don't explore myself, right? If I don't understand who I am at this point in my life, if I understand who I want to be, where I'm going, where am I meant to be in this life? So I think for me that has honestly been a game changer. Like, and it kind of takes away from having to be perfect too, right? Right. If you lose control, that means I don't have to be perfect. I don't want to be perfect. Like, who wants a perfect life? First of all, that sounds boring as hell. And and then outside of that, it just doesn't, like, I always go back to like this human experience. Like, it doesn't allow you to just have it and live it and explore it. Right. So yeah, that's me. Like, I think it's, for me, it's been a game changer.
All right, Tamika.
For me, giving up control was difficult. Um, my type A brain, and one of my coaches said to me, well, do you have problems with trusting yourself? And this is when it came to the business, because I felt like I had to do everything by myself. And she says, do you trust yourself? And I'm like, what do you mean, do I trust myself? And she said, trust yourself to make the right decisions on the right people. Do you trust yourself? And I really had to sit in that and ask myself if I did trust myself, which I didn't, because I had made so many mistakes with other things in my life that I deep down I know I didn't. So I had to work on that. And giving up control now, it's a day-to-day process. I'm a lot better, and it has nothing to do with the people. They're great. They do what they got to do, and I'm happy about it. It's just about me letting go. And that's very hard. And especially when it's your business, because it's like my baby. It's like, I don't know what. So I'm a lot better than I was 10, 15 years ago, but I still got a ways to go. But in other avenues of my life control, I don't need it. I don't need it anymore. Not the way I used to. Now it's like, oh, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? Like I always say with my daughter, because I was like, we're gonna do this. What do you want to do? She's like, oh, me? Yeah, what do you want to do? Come on, I don't want to have to think. All I want to do is just do and enjoy. I don't have to think about nothing. So that has been lovely. It's lovely, especially when you have a grown daughter, because she just takes the reins and all I got to do is sit back, relax. I don't even have to drive anymore. I'm so happy. I'm so happy, but it took a lot. It took a lot.
That part, yeah, definitely with my business, it was hard because it was you, Tamika, that kept saying, get an assistant, get this, take stuff off your plate. And it was like, well, they're not going to do it like I do it. They're going to mess up. And I did get a social media person. And I'm checking everything. And I'm like, oh my God, you misspelled something. And then they're going to look at me and they're going to think this. And they're like, oh, well, you're MPH and you got all these certifications and da da da. And I'm like, you can go in and just change stuff. Like you're too in your head. And it is hard when you have that much control. You don't know how to let go and to trust somebody else, because in my mind I'm like, well, they don't see my vision like I see it.
Yes.
So Natasha, I know you got some stories with
Yeah, letting go has been I think a constant kind of let me just make a constant, hey, let me just make sure I'm not overly controlling this situation, right? And so I think of that in related to when I was in corporate America, or related to like me being an entrepreneur now. Of course, I've led teams of maximum 30 people, and being able to, you're the person in charge, you're the person that's kind of that has the final say on processes and systems and the close and the finances. And so being able to say, hey, again, when do I use control and when do I decide to, hey, I don't need control in these situations. So if I am, leading a team and someone is asking me a question, then, hey, I need to be able to say, hey, this is how I'm controlling this situation, but also being able to say to my team, I don't know everything. I am not perfect. And so you should be able to share with me your thought process, your opinion on, hey, if we did this, then how does that translate to your day-to-day, right? Because I'm not doing that person's job. And so for me, it's actually saying to myself, Natasha, you don't know everything. Right? And as humans, then that's how you're able to kind of say, well, let me kind of let go of this control thing because I don't know everything, right? And so even with my business, it's learning to kind of take a step back and listen to understand, right? So sometimes I'm kind of like, scrambling. How can I think of new ideas? And sometimes when you kind of take a step back and say, again, I don't know everything. How can I kind of reach out to my community of people to say, hey, can you help in this area? Because I don't know. But also being open to critique, right? When someone says, you didn't do this quite right. Okay, that's fine. Right? How should I do it better? Like, tell me your thought process. And sometimes receiving critique can be hard if you're someone that's always in control, right? Because everything has to be right, right? But when you're able to like let go and say, I am a human, I don't know everything, and therefore someone else is able to teach me something. And there's something that we say in yoga is that um, make sure that you're always a student, right? You can be a leader and a student at the same time. And so the goal for me is to always be both, right? In how I'm leading my business, how I'm engaging with people. I want to be able to always take a step back and listen because, again, I don't know everything, right? And I want to be able to say, hey, how can I be the best person I could be? How can my business be the best business that it could be? How can, I build this grand thing? You have to be able to listen to understand.
I agree. I think, I've never heard those two together, but that is a great analogy of being a student because we're always learning, we're always evolving, we're always, you know, we're not the same as we were 5 minutes ago, literally, because having this conversation, we're taking in what somebody else is saying and it's opening our minds like, oh wow, I didn't think about that. So that makes a lot of sense. And I know, Natasha, what you offer with Her Plum, I've told you I've never heard anything like that before. And we talked about how those conversations are never had and they should be had with young girls who are experiencing menstruation because your body, you're bleeding. And it's like, okay. And especially if you don't know, and in our community, that's not a conversation that is had of connecting with that emotion. So when it comes to you ladies' emotional health, what does that look like in this period of time now, opposed to earlier this year or last year? What is that looking like right now? I know for me, I am getting more in tune and being aware of my emotions and taking time out to connect with them. That used to not be me. I was avoiding it. I was busying myself because I didn't want to connect. And the one thing about emotional and physical and mental health, it will shut your ass down because it is going to be like, oh, you're gonna keep going, going, going. Oh, okay. So you will crash anyway, mentally, emotionally, or physically. And I had to really realize, okay, my emotional health is as well important as my physical health. And the emotional health affects your physical health. And I've experienced that with high inflammation, my cortisol levels being really high. So for you, Natasha, what has that looked like with your emotional health?
Yeah, yeah. So now I am, and I don't want to say like right now, but like in the last 10 years, I would say I have definitely been able to do a check in, right? And I make sure I do a check in with myself because then it allows me to say, wait a second, what actually happened to make me respond like this, right? And sometimes it's hard to say, oh yeah, I was, let's say for example, in a relationship, and now the relationship is done and you're like, I hate everybody. You don't actually hate everybody, right? You actually just hated the situation that you were in. And then you have to be able to say, but why? Why did I hate the situation that I was in? And why did I stay there so long? Right. So for me, it's dissecting my current situation and then pinpointing exactly what's making me feel like something is that I, sad or happy or angry, right? Identifying the emotion. And so for me, it's in the last 10 years, it has been, hey, I'm angry because I came in the house today and no one was home. Well, do you live with anyone? Do you want to live with someone? Does your dog not make you happy? Interesting, right? So I think sometimes it could be something like very, very small that makes you very angry, and you don't even know why. And so for me, I make sure I do check-ins, but also I really have like a very, very small group of friends that we're all, I would say, very like spiritually connected in a way where we feel when each other are kind of going through something. And so they, all of us, we do this kind of like check-in. But if something is truly wrong, where where like I need a second, we're able to say to each other, hey, I'm actually going through something at this present time. I haven't processed yet. So if you don't mind, give me like a day. Give me a day, give me 2 days. That way I can kind of sit with myself and be able to process the emotions that I'm actually going through and then be able to overcome, right? Whether it's body movement, hey, I need to kind of get out of this energy. Let me go take a walk, or let me journal, or let me do some deep breathing. So for me, it has been really, how do I dissect truly being honest with myself, right? And it comes with, make sure that you're being completely honest. I tell my nephews all the time, you are honest with yourself first. You are dishonest with yourself first. And then when you tell someone else a lie, you are deceiving the other person, right? So make sure in my conversations with myself, I make sure that I am completely honest with what I say to myself. I'm completely honest to make sure that I am, the response that I'm giving myself with the answers that I experience is from real experiences. This is how I'm really feeling. This is how I really need to show up for myself.
Everything you said is, and Tamika is a relationship coach as well. And it is that what is it that's causing this feeling right now? And really being able to connect with that. And I think for women, we don't connect. We just go, or we busy ourselves or something, but it is, why are we not happy? Or why are we, in the space that we're in? What's going on? Just having those check-ins. And I think that's important. Nick.
I agree with what Natasha says. Like, honestly, you have to do a self check-in. You have to question not only your emotions, but question your thoughts, question your feelings. I'm gonna always go back to like that is the whole scope of our human experience, right? It's not saying F these feelings or, I'm catching fights, not feelings, but this is a part of who we are. We're meant to feel. We're feeling creatures. So for me, my emotional well being has been great overall because I don't expect it to be perfect. I don't expect it to be always the same, right? I check into how I feel, why I feel a certain way, what is causing this, and a lot of stillness. Like for me, stillness allows me to go deeper, allow me to question myself, allows me to just be in the moment. And if I'm mad about something, not automatically try to get out of it, but be in it. Let me cuss. Let me feel the way I feel. And that's okay too. So that's what has helped me mentally is not only just asking a question of why I feel this way and getting to an answer, but just allowing the feeling to be there, right? Because I'm not crazy, so I don't get mad out of nowhere. So if I'm feeling a certain way, it's a good reason. Like 90% of the time, it's a good reason. So I allow emotion to play its course with me, and then say, okay, let's go. We get back to who Nick is, and that has been pivotal in my overall well-being.
So can you kind of mention how did you get in that place? Because I'm sure a lot of women will come across this video and they're trying to figure out, how can I get to this place?
Oh, absolutely. So for me, my journey came pretty early. If anyone is dealing with a chronic health condition, you know that any type of unresolved issue can absolutely throw your body for a loop, and it could contribute to massive pain and discomfort in your body. So I had to really take a step back and not look at like who Nick used to be, but like, who am I now? Where am I going? How do I live my life despite this chronic health condition? And that allowed me to set a foundation that not my parents gave me, but that I can build for myself. And that was important, right? So it's understanding me on a deeper level, like not only who is Nick now, but like what brings me joy? What do I enjoy doing? What makes me laugh? What is my triggers? What is it that I don't like that people do that, could set me off? What is it that I do that may set somebody off? So it just get into that place of understanding of self, right? So now that I have a baseline of like, okay, this is who I am, and I don't want anybody to think that this was a 24-hour journaling thing going on. This is a process, right? A continuous process, but it allowed me to understand myself deeper and understand myself on a level where I'm okay with how I show up. I'm okay with my emotions. I'm okay with my thoughts. There's no shame behind them. Um, so it was really just taking a step back and looking and saying, "This is me now. How am I? How do I feel about this, Nick? Where do I want to go? What brings me joy? What brings me happiness?" So it's these little steps that kind of build into where I'm at now, where it's like, if I have a bad day, I understand that it's a bad moment, not the rest of the week, not my life, not all these things. This is just a bad moment, and it could pass, and it will pass. And I allow myself to feel it. I allow myself to go through it. I would question after, but I don't put any shame on it. I realize this is how I feel, and I'm okay. It's okay for me to feel that way. I'm gonna feel. I may cuss. I may go to sleep just to be like, I can't even right now. All these things may happen, and that's okay. I think what we tend to do is put all these pressures of feeling, because I don't know how we got into this space. I mean, I get it, protection, but it's like feelings is the worst thing ever now, and it blows my mind. And you're supposed to feel things, right? Now if your emotion get besides you, that's a different conversation, but we are meant to feel. That's how we know if something is good, is healthy for us, or it's not. And I think we got so far away from just feelings that like people just don't understand themselves, or they don't understand, what's going on, and that becomes overwhelming. So yeah, start feeling again, people. It's okay. It's safe. That's how you know you're alive.
I want to say it was 2 weeks ago. Nick and I were DMing each other, and I was not having a good day. I left my wallet at home. And she was like, "How are you?" I'm like, "I'm not good. I left my wallet and da da da." And she's like, "Okay." She said, "It's not going to determine the rest of your day."
Mhm.
And she said, "Do you have, if you need to stop somewhere, do you have the pay app where you have your card on there so you can, use that to pay for anything?" And I was like, she is absolutely right. I was like, she's right. It is a moment. I'm okay as long as I'm driving the speed limit, which was really hard that day, but I did it. And I was like, she is right. So thank you for that, because it was a moment.
It was a
And
moment. And I didn't discount how you felt. I wasn't trying to say, oh, don't feel that way. Nah, cuss up, scream. Like, feel how you feel. And then we're going to be like, okay, but you got your stuff, right? You have
yeah,
access to things, right? So it's like two things can happen at once. And I feel like we're in a place where people, oh, don't feel that way. It's going to be okay. Nah, let me cuss. Let me rage. Let me vent. Let me be on some like, I'm tired of this. And I feel like when you get that emotion out your body, you allow good things. You're making room for the good things to happen. You're making room to see like the light at the end of the tunnel, or whatever the place is. But like, don't discount how you feel, but then you can feel and still say, okay, let me bring a little logic into this feeling. Do I still have access to a card? Can I pay for something? God forbid something happened. Can I go home? Am I safe? And after that, rage out. I don't care.
Well, thank you for that because it did help. All right, Samika.
Oh, man. One thing that Nick and both Natasha said is that it's a journey to work on your emotional health. You have to get it out. And that was one of the things that it took me a while to do, because growing up and being in a household where girls are supposed to be seen and not heard and not have your feelings validated, so you just keep it in, you just, for me, became a ticking time bomb. So the last 10, 15 years have been much better because I noticed how if I'm angry with something, sometimes it's not even about what the person said. It just, what they said sparked something that happened 20 years ago that made me feel like I wasn't being heard. And that is what I was being angry with. So working on my emotional health, I do it every single day. Like I carve out a time every single day at the end of the day and, kind of play in my mind what happened. Why did it make me feel like that? Did I overreact? Did I underreact? What can I do if this situation presents itself again so that I can hopefully respond better? But the biggest thing for me is letting it out. So it's been plenty of times when I will send LeJune a message like, this mofo about to get it because I'm tired of him and his foolishness, like plenty of times. And then I get it out and then she listens and then I'm like, all right, good. I got that out. I'm on to the next. Like I don't even, by the end of the day, hopefully I'm not even thinking about it. If I'm still thinking about it, that means there's still some work to do because something is unresolved somewhere. But it is for me a daily practice. Every evening I have to be still. We have become humans doing and not human beings, and we're supposed to be human beings. So sitting in that silence for me is golden. Having that time to myself where the phone is off and I'm just in complete silence. At first I hated it because your mind will lie to you. Your mind will say, you don't have to do this, you good, your mind will lie to you. So that for me has been the game changer, just to realize more about who I am. Like Nick said, what you like, what you don't like. You can't do that if you're doing. You can't. And I felt myself getting frustrated with myself because I was doing. Even the benchmarks that I had for my life, now that I look back, I mean, they were important, but they weren't. I was setting money goals and not emotional goals. Not Tamika, what I wanted to do inwardly. It always had to do with trying to achieve the house, the car, the this, the that. And, for me, after a while, you get to that place and you still feel empty. So working on my emotional health has made me better. And now, since I can't go in the past and change what I did in the past, it just makes me more present now for the children, for my grandson, for my husband, for, my friends. And I appreciate that now. I know the value of being still. So.
Oh, girl. All of you have said a lot. And when you said human being, just being, that in itself says a lot because we're not just being, we're doing. And it's the opposite of just sitting still in that moment. And you know, for me, that was the hardest thing because for me, being still meant, oh, I had to watch something. I had to, be doing something. I wasn't, or I had to be sleeping. It wasn't, let me meditate, let me connect with God, let me connect with me. More importantly, it wasn't a thing for me. It was because when you're not taught that, because my mom was the type, she was sad and she would go in the bathroom and she would cry, and I would literally hear her crying. And that's what crying meant to me is you have to go somewhere away from people to cry. That shouldn't be a thing. If you gotta cry, cry. But that's what we have been taught is no, you don't connect with that. You go somewhere private. You don't talk to your husband, spouse, partner, or whoever in regards to how I'm feeling. And let's talk about where are you presently? And we know how people are. We in the past or we already in 2026. We ain't in right now. And I think for me, I had to learn that because for years I was stuck in the past of what my mom did or what so and so did to me. Or in the future, oh, I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. And it was never in this moment because this moment prepares me for 2026. It doesn't, we're just jumping. We're not in the moment of how am I feeling? What can I change before 2026 comes? What can I change before tomorrow comes? What does that look like for me? And I think that's important for so many because people are already saying, oh man, January the 2nd, I'm a new me. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Okay, why can't we start today? Because it always has to be the next day. I don't think we have processed, okay, I'm going to stop doing whatever I'm doing right now and I'm going to make some changes right now today and then continue tomorrow. I'm going to take baby steps because we always think everything has to look big. It doesn't. It's unrealistic. For some people, they can do it. Some people, it's unrealistic for them and they stop immediately and the consistency ends. So, Nick, what does your present look like?
Oh my God. I love this question. Because one of my favorite things to say and remind myself is don't wait until Monday. We all have this thing of waiting until Monday to start something new. I to break out of that habit, I always say I don't wait until Monday to do things that feel good to the soul, right? Or let go of things that no longer aligns with me. I do not wait until Monday. But as for me, I I'm meant to live in the present. I don't know any other way to say it. I'm very much in the present moment. I realize a long time ago that is where I thrive is in the present. Because when I am too far in the future, it's just wild to me. It's too adventurous for me, and I don't do well in the future. I just don't. that, that's too wild over there for me. And in the past is where I learn, right? And I could reflect and say, okay, this happened, and how do I be a better person now? But I thrive in the future. So for me to thrive in the present. So for me to be in the present is probably the easiest place for me to be in, because I don't have these expectations of perfection, right? I don't have these expectations of disappointing anyone because I realized a long time ago that this is my life. This is my experience, and I have to do things that makes me happy on this journey. And once I centered myself on this journey, it became easy to be on it, right? I enjoy what's to come instead of trying to anticipate what's coming. And that has made it easier being present. So, like in my mind, as of now, I only have up until March. If you ask me what I'm doing outside of March, I cannot tell you. If you be like, oh, join my event in July, I may not be here, honestly. And not being here as in death, people. No, I mean in the US. I'm a wanderer, I'm a traveler. We're not talking morbid, but like I may be in another country, I may be doing something else. Like, and I realize I like living that way. I enjoy it. It's adventurous for me, it's fun to me. So that goes back to like understanding thyself. You have to know yourself. And because I have took that journey to know myself and I'm continuously learning who I am, I don't look at I don't live too far in the future because I enjoy the now. So for me, it's I like it here. I like where I'm at. I like what I'm doing. I trust and have faith that every step that I take gets me closer to the life I want to live, without having to feel like I need to do everything, get everything right to get there. Like there's trust in this present moment. There's trust in the now.
I yeah. Because I'm the same way, and Tamika knows people will ask me about something to put on my schedule, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that at that time. I don't know if that's mentally someplace that I'm going to be. So I'm in the now. So if you tell me something in the future, no, I don't want to plan that. I try to go day to day, week to week, and if it's anything outside of that, don't don't put me down because I'm probably not because I don't know where I'll be.
And I agree with that too, right? And even if it's not saying that, we can't do things in the future, but it's you're telling me something now for June that isn't lighting me up right now, and I'm not excited about it, I'll get back to you. I'd rather pay full price. I know that I want to be there than me getting a discount price on something that doesn't even light me up, right? It doesn't energize me. It doesn't feed my soul. So, like, yeah, yeah.
Tamika.
I love being in the present moment, but I wasn't always like this. I spent a lot of time in the past reliving regrets, and it wasn't serving me. And then I spent a lot of time in the future, especially when you're in situations where you don't want to be in the present moment. You like to live in the future, which is taking up time now because you're not doing what you're supposed to do now so that you can have that wonderful life in the future. So I've probably learned in my 40s now, look, and especially after COVID, because I lost so many wonderful people and they were so, young, 30s, early 40s. And I think that is when I realized the past already happened. I may not make it to this future goal. All I got is right now. All I got is today. And all I can do is make today the best day so that my tomorrow will be what I want it to be. But it took a lot of time. And I'm always laughing at Lejeune when people want her to do stuff in advance. And she's like, I don't even know what and I just always find that funny because in their minds, they're like, let me get on her calendar. In her head, she like, I don't even know if I'm going to be in the state then. so it always tickles me. And it is, the truth. So I am learning to just stay in the present and just, enjoy it because tomorrow isn't promised. I mean, today isn't really promised. So all I have control over is this one moment. So I love being in the moment now. That is definitely a present, being in the present for me.
Yeah, because you know I am definitely like that. Where I months in advance I can't promise that. And I work with kids, which is an NC I added to my business. And I always say to Tamika, if I know I'm going to, my plan is to relocate next year. And I don't want to, kids get attached. And I don't want to put anybody out, but I also have to put myself first of my dreams and my passions and what I want to do. And I always say to any client I work with, have a backup because I'm not always going to be available. Natasha.
Yes, yes. I am similar to Tamika and Nick and yourself. I am a present person. I am here right now, living now, experiencing now. Like that's it, right? I do feel like, live in the present, learn from the past, and prepare for the future. But preparing for the future for me is based on how you're living in the present. The things that you actually want are going to manifest itself at the right time. And so when I say like prepare for the future, it just means like continuing to be yourself now, today, right? And saying whatever conversations, whatever relationships that's built today, then they were meant for a purpose in the future. And so for me, it's just really, how can I continue to be present? How can I continue to kind of honor how I'm feeling today and allowing it to lead me to where I'm going in the future, right? I know for so many people, not on this call, of course, right? Because we're all here right now, living now. I know for so many people, it's like, this happened to me and that happened to me, and then they can't overcome. They can't actually, as Tamika was saying, they can't appreciate the present of the present, the here and now. And some people are too far ahead that they can't, again, recognize, hey, wait a second. I woke up today. I'm alive. I'm breathing. I have all my five senses, right? And so, and some of us sixth sense, right? So, it's really, I'm right here. I'm right now. And I feel like it's the best place for my mental health, because being able to manage past, present, and future, it's just too much going on, to be honest. And there's no way that you could be like, I'm so angry with the past. I'm so happy with the future. I'm excited. Whoa, let's focus on one thing. Let's heal the past, right? Let's make sure that you're having your conversations with yourself, but also let's be happy with our present. And if you're not happy with the present, then ask yourself, like, what is it that I need to do to make sure that I'm happy with the present so that I'm living in the present, right? So I'm a present girl. I'm in the here and the now. And so, yeah, so hopefully to all women, you are also living in the present.
Okay, so
Can I just mention one thing real quick? I want to just touch on something you said, Natasha, where sometimes people could be so far in the future, right, that you don't even see what's working for you in the present right now. Like you are so over there and so anticipating what's going to happen, and this lifestyle and this, and for most is business, right? Because we're all in entrepreneurship, that you don't even see what's working for you right now, what's actually bringing you joy, what's the thing that is lighting you up right now, right? I always feel like you see better in the daylight with light than you would ever see in the dark. So if you are looking for a room that has no light in it yet, like, how do you see where you're going? Right? So you're just taking any old path that could get you there. And you can end up on the gravel path instead of, the easy paved road to success. That's how I look at it.
Yeah. 1,000%. 1,000%.
Yeah, because it definitely can be a bumpy road. It can be hills, because we definitely, here we have roads that you go up and you don't know if it's a car on that other side, and it's really tiny. So you don't know the road of life. It could be zigzag, it could be anything. But just having yourself in that mindset of, I'm trusting God, I'm trusting this process, I'm trusting, and being open to that.
That word, trusting, right? Trusting your thought process, trusting the messages that you're receiving, trusting your process. That word trust is a big one for like so many, even myself, going through my own journey, right? I'm holding my hand up, I'm like, trust was huge, right? And so until I learned how to trust myself, then I'm like, okay, hold on, let me continue to pray, let me continue to connect, because then now I'm able to say, wait, what is my path? Where am I going? Right? God is guiding me on the next. He's helping me put one foot in front of the other. So trust is huge, right? Faith is huge.
Definitely 100%. Um, what advice, suggestions would you give women as we are going into 2026? Tamika.
Know what you want in 2026. Have a vision of what you want for your life. If you do not have a vision in every category of your life, how can you ever achieve what you want? So have that vision. And once you have that vision, once you know where you want to be, then I want you to start today, not tomorrow, like Nick said, not Monday, today, and just do one thing that is going to get you closer to that goal. Can be small. A lot of my clients have, diabetes, type 2 diabetes. And I always give them the 3-2-1 method. Don't eat 3 hours before you go to bed. Get off your phone 1 hour, and second hour in, just be. So 3-2-1, do that, do that, do that, do that. But you have to know, because some of us don't know, and then we wonder why we're miserable, or we wonder why we're not going anywhere. How can you go somewhere you don't even know where you want to go? I asked a young lady, she's in her 20s. I said, "Oh, so, what is your vision for your life?" She was like, "What do you mean?" I said, "Do you have any goals?" She said, "Like what?" I said, "I don't know. What are your goals?" And she was like, "I haven't never thought about it." I said, "You go to college, right?" And she's like, "Yes." And I'm like, "What are you studying?" And she goes, "Oh, I'm undecided." Like she had no clue. And so I said to her, "Well, you got to figure out what you want, because when you don't know what you want, that means other people and other things are controlling your life." And so, that's my biggest advice for 2026. Know what you want and then do one small thing that's going to lead you closer to that goal.
Natasha.
So I would ask all women to ask themselves one question, which is, what does self-love mean to you? And how do you give yourself that self-love daily, right? So is it, when you are kind of eating different foods, are you putting healthy foods in your body? Are you connecting with yourself in an intentional way? Are you creating time to pause, right? What does your like health consist of, right? Not just physically, but emotionally. Take a second to actually jot down the things that you feel like are important for you, that contribute to you loving yourself, which means it's the products you use, it's your time that you're taking to say, hey, what are the ingredients in these products, right? It's the time that you're taking to say to yourself, hey, is there a company that's out there that actually cares about me as a person, and actually engaging with those companies? It's you saying to yourself, hey, I need to be able to teach myself how to love me, so that the things that I use and the me actually being intentional about how I show up for my mental health are important. So ask yourself, like, how am I taking care of myself, and actually showing that to myself daily?
Nick.
Okay, this is one of my favorite questions because I will always say go on a journey of self-exploration. So much of you know your business, you know other people's business, you know everything else more than you know yourself. And that should not be in that order. Go make 2026 the year that you explore you. And I'm not saying you going on a trip to somebody's beach or you go into somebody else's country, but you in your wholeness. What what do you enjoy? What energizes you? Who do you like to be around? You know, what makes you cry? What is your favorite genre of music? Do you like to karaoke? Do you like to just sit in bed and do nothing without feeling guilty about it? Like, go on this exploration of you because we are slowly but surely becoming the upside down. Yes, that's a Stranger Thing reference. And in this place where so much rights are being taken away, right? So much things are being taken away from women. The one thing you should know is yourself. The one thing that you should know more than anything else is who you are, who you're meant to be, and what is your purpose, your gift. What is the thing that lights you up on your human experience? So, my thing for you is to go on a journey of self exploration for 2026.
I love everything that everyone has said, and I agree. I would definitely say to add to everyone, check in with yourself. How are you feeling? Really connect with those feelings. Don't busy yourself. If you have kids, take 2 minutes to 5 minutes to yourself and just check in and breathe. If it's going to the bathroom, if it's, going to your room and saying to your kids, hey, give mommy 5 minutes and take those 5 minutes. It doesn't have to be big, it doesn't have to be 30 minutes to an hour. It can be small because your kids can see that when you're not in a great mood. Your partner can see when you're not in a good mood, and it's okay to say, I need a minute. Do it. It is definitely necessary. So, if you ladies can tell people where they can find you, we will start with Natasha.
Awesome, awesome. Hi, everybody. Again, you can find me at herplum.com, which is our website. You can also find me on Instagram at herplum, HERPLUM, Facebook, TikTok, and LinkedIn. Same handle across the board because it's Herplum, right? So you can find me all there. I'm looking forward to hearing from everyone and talk to you guys soon.
All right, Nick.
Okay, so before I share my handle, when I had stopped talking, this little voice was like, tell them how to do it, right? So I just want to go back for a little bit for you to start a journey of self exploration because I am a big advocate for this. I want you to create a list, right? And it could be 5 things, 10, however it feels good, of things that you need to thrive, right? Create a list of environments, spirituality, financially, all these things that you need to thrive. And those are your non negotiables. Your non negotiables. So any decision that you make, those are your non negotiables because that's what you need to thrive. And stick to that. And that is a great, leeway into doing things that allows you to thrive, right? So that's a great way to start 2026. Make your thrive list, stick to that. Now, where to find me? You could go to thebrainstormingbestie.com. That's my website. Also on social media, I am under Nicola Prosperous on Instagram, TikTok. Also on my website, sign up for my list. It's called Stay in the Know because I do a lot of pop-ups. I do a lot of things that light my soul on fire. Like, I'm not the person that's going to email you 24/7, pause, because I don't even want to write that much. So what this allows you to do is stay in contact with me and see my process, right? And anything that I send you is going to be in alignment towards clarity, towards you understanding yourself, understanding your gift, your vision, your business, right, on a deeper level that not only goes to the logic, but the soul. So yes, join my list in the know. It's on my website. And yes, see you on them social streets.
Tamika.
You can find me at CoachTamikaLloyd.com. I'm also on Instagram, Facebook, same handle. Just do not DM me because I do not answer messages from social media only on CoachTamikaLloyd.com because I get a whole lot of crazy stuff in my DM. So yes, I see you shaking your head, LeJeune.
She does not respond. Yeah, she don't. So don't DM her because she won't get a response. Um, I thank you, ladies. You guys said some amazing things, and hopefully, this will help another woman who needs insight and understanding. And as we all said, it doesn't happen overnight, it takes time. If it happened overnight, oh my God, we would all be in a great place. But everything is a learning process and trusting. It doesn't happen overnight. So thank you, ladies. You guys can find me at lejunesingleton.com or Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, and Facebook with June Singleton. Thank you guys again so much. I appreciate you giving me your time and dropping some amazing gems. And we have to do something in 2026. So we'll talk about that. Hey, I'll be sliding in your DMs, Tamika. I'll be sliding in your in your text because we have now created a bond, and I appreciate you guys. Until next time, this is Mind, Health, and Wellness. Hey, treat yourself, love yourself, and put yourself first. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you, LeJune. This is an awesome panel. Thank you so much for having us. Bye, everyone.
Yes, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.